Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you guys are doing very well, as well as you can do. You can see from the title that is where we are right now. Chelsea Football Club. We are at the stage where we're now signing rugby players to help at the football club. So, hey, listen, we're in for a bumpy ride, but I'm here for it, even if it's not so fun. We got to just get through it as best as we can. Big up to everyone that's watching on the stream, and big up to everyone that is still going to turn up, no matter what, for Chelsea Football Club. No matter how good or bad the results are, the fact that you're watching every week, big up to you, because over the past couple of weeks, it's been pretty painful. Rugby, yes, Rain, that is right. Rugby, that is where we are at right now. I hope you're doing well, Rain. Trust the protest, says James. I hope you're doing well, mate. Good to have you on the stream. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I am not making this up. I promise you, this is real news. Okay, former Wigan's Warriors back rower Willie Isa is set to become a player support and development officer at Chelsea, and will have a broad range of responsibilities. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. Guys, if you hear any background noises, I apologize. There's literally construction going on in the flat below me. So I can't escape it, I'm afraid. So I do apologize if there's any background noise. This is the article which was originally come out, Mike Megan. This came out yesterday, and the Daily Mail had an article about it as well. If you look on that tab, what the fuck is this? Why does it say Troy Dean? Okay, so it's got two articles, and this is one of the articles that's on there. So he's 36 years old, Willie Isa, and he was a back row, which is one of the positions you can play in rugby, presumably. And he announced his retirement from rugby last month. So after only a month of retirement, what has given Chelsea the impression that this is the player we need? Like, where has that come from?
You guys want to do a little spot?
Turn that down. Where has that come from? I don't understand why this is the solution to our problems, and the timing of it as well. It does seem a little bit strange, doesn't it? You could have released this at any point in time. The day after Brighton, I mean, you knew there was going to be something, but I don't know. It's just a bit of a strange one for me. So he retired, even though he did sign a contract extension at Wigan Warriors. So at this time, the club said the decorated Samoan was departing to pursue a new opportunity. And that new opportunity is at Chelsea Football Club. So this is not something that's happened initially. This is something that's probably been in the making for a couple of months. And he is due to start. This news has only just become public. So in a move that few may have seen coming, Isa is set to swap sports to become player support and development officer at Stamford Bridge, and will have a broad range of responsibilities. The 36-year-old back row, who won 3 Super League titles and a World Cup challenge with Wigan, is known for his leadership skills and has been a role model over a decade with the Cherry and Whites. Isa will work closely with the head of men's operations and welfare, Kevin Campello, and his time will be dedicated largely to player coordination around training and match days, with his new employer committed to growing support for its players across all teams. And that's it. That's all they've got regarding Isa. I mean, I don't know if he has come out and said anything. I'm not sure if he's commented or been interviewed for any of these things at the moment. Willie Isa. Let's Willie Isa. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's come out and said anything. So as it stands, this is all the news we have on Willie Isa. I don't know if there's anyone who watches rugby on here. I don't watch rugby. I've got no interest in rugby. I don't watch the Six Nations. I don't even watch the World Cup. I just don't find it particularly entertaining. Everything that people say is bad about football, which obviously isn't in rugby because it's a totally different game in terms of the way they speak to the refs and the way they make decisions. Football is becoming more like rugby in the modern day, which I think is quite unfortunate, because one of the things that I love is the controversy. I love the controversy, and don't get me wrong, there's still no lack of controversy in football, but it's very robotic. It's becoming more robotic, isn't it? And I think that takes away from what we love about football, which is raw atmosphere and passion and amazing moments. But you don't really see that as much these days, do you? We've got almost 40 people in the chat as well, guys. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Can we get up to 35 likes on the video? If you haven't already, press the thumbs up. Takes 1 minute. Just press it. Makes a big difference, guys. Really appreciate it. Yusuf said, this is what we have resorted to, a rugby player. That is where we are right now, guys. We are Rugby FC, whatever that means. Here we go. Sarah, big up to you, Chelsea fan from Malaysia. Good to see you. How do the Malaysian fans feel about Chelsea at the moment? I'll be interested to know. But, I mean, it's just a very strange situation. Like, I should be talking about football-related things, and it should be making sense. We should see that there is a plan. We're trying to rebuild. You know, I'm all for the process. It's very hard to understand the process at the moment. If you do want some positive news, not that the timing is good from my perspective, because I said after Brighton that Maresca, he needs to go if he keeps playing Robert Sanchez. But still, nonetheless, he's our manager. Happy birthday to Enzo Maresca. There you go. He's 45 years old. Let's see what people have reacted. Tom says we need to back him. Jess says next birthday he'll be coaching Plymouth. Oh, what is the most memorable moment of Enzo Maresca's career at Chelsea so far? That's a great question. My goodness. Most memorable moment for Enzo Maresca since he's been at Chelsea. My God. Well, I think if you're looking at quotes, iconic quotes, you look at Arteta, he goes, this is the fucking standard. You got Pep Guardiola with his famous quote, we cannot replace him. Big Ange, this is who we are, mate. Enzo Maresca, we are not in the title race. That's what I'll remember him for. We are not in the title race. That's my memorable moment. And if he does get sacked, which won't happen, you know, it won't happen. But if he was to get fired, that's what people would remember him for, isn't it? Is there another quote that I've missed? That's his famous quote. We are not in the title race. Talk about inspirational stuff. Happy birthday, Enzo Maresca. Simply a technical decision. There you go. Put them in the chat, guys, if I've missed any. Put them in the chat. Mohammed says, finished club. Unfortunately, well, we may feel that way, but I can tell you right now, I think the ownership are only getting started. You think that this is the end? I think this is a bit of a wake-up call for all of the Chelsea fans out there, that this is the beginning of, well, you could say the beginning of the end. I mean, we don't know, but it's not looking great. It's looking very worrying. I'm worried. The people use the word, are you angry? I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm fearful about what I'm seeing, because I don't understand it. I don't know why it's being done in the way that we're doing it. You can make money, but why do you have to do it this way? Why does it have to be so destructive? I speak to lots of different people from the club. I speak to people from the CPO. I speak to people from the Chelsea Supporters Trust, or I hear from people connected to them. You know, I speak directly with people in the hospitality sector at Chelsea, people who are employees of the club. Obviously, I will never give away their names. And everything is about money. That is the thing that I hear consistently. You know, it wasn't like that before. Of course, money is a factor. It's important. Without money, you can't buy players, you can't sell players. Sorry, you can't you can't do anything without money. That's the point. But to make money the topic of everything, every single thing is about money. I mean, that is not fun. That is not fun. I got involved in Chelsea Fan TV because I love talking about the club. I used to go on 100% Chelsea because Chelsea Fan TV wasn't always the channel. I used to go on 100% Chelsea when I was much younger. I used to come after school and go on Chelsea Fan TV after the game. I'm going 100% Chelsea. I did my first interview for 100% Chelsea when, oh my God, when we drew 2-2 against Arsenal and Maurizio Sarri was our manager. It was the opening game of the season. We beat Arsenal 3-2. Sorry, we didn't draw. We beat them 3-2. And Emery was Arsenal's new manager and Sarri was Chelsea's new manager. And I love talking about the club. I don't like talking about this. It's not fun. I genuinely, my mood, I don't really want to talk about this stuff. I don't want to talk about it. It's not, I am a very positive fan. I find it very difficult to be positive about the club right now. I find it very difficult. You have to talk about it. You have to. Be honest with yourself. What are you watching? What are we fucking watching? What are you listening to in the press conferences? Is this acceptable to you? Is this the standard that we hold ourselves to? What is standards? What is standards? Maresca is not doing a great job at the moment at all. He's an idiot for picking Robert Sanchez, even though I know Sanchez wasn't the reason we lost the game against Brighton. But he's still an idiot. Sanchez should never, ever be near this club. He shouldn't even be he shouldn't even be around the first team. It's like a disease. Any player who comes into contact with Robert Sanchez, you should have a mask on or something. You know, come on, mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Why'd you keep putting him in? I've got nothing personal against Robert Sanchez. He's a nice bloke, I'm sure. I'm talking football here. This is strictly football. It's not good enough. Big up yourself, Alex. Shout out from Jamaica. Mash up my glass in-house when I see my team lose against Brighton. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's not fun. It's not good to watch, mate. And people say they're bored. It is boring football, isn't it? It's not fun to watch. Say what you want about Poch last season. That was entertaining. You say what you want. Don't tell me you weren't entertained. We didn't have many games like that last season where there was just nothing. We had some. Don't get me wrong, but you know, you had 4-4 against City, 4-3 against United. We had some absolute classics. I honestly, I pray that we get Champions League football. I pray. That's all I want. I wish Maresca all the best, but he is not filling me with any confidence at the moment. And the board of directors certainly aren't. What we did in January was criminal. We took away assets that could help the team and we made the team worse and then brushed it up as something that was good for the team because we didn't need as much depth. We had too many players. We don't have enough players. Everyone's criticizing us for having too many players. You shouldn't have signed Sancho. You shouldn't have signed João Felix. We could have used João Felix. I would have loved to have seen Felix against Brighton so you could at least rest Cole Palmer. But I say that Palmer's the only one who could do anything in that game, and he was still poor. We've got 60 odd of you in the chat as well. Let's get up to 50 likes on the video. 50 likes. Smash the like button, guys. Again, I am going to recap what I've said regarding Willie Isa as well, because I know some of you are just jumping on, but I'm going to go through the chat as well and answer any questions. I want to hear as well, guys, because it is Enzo Maresca's birthday, I want you to tell me what is your favorite moment Or what's your most memorable moment of Enzo Maresca at Chelsea so far? It could be a game that he managed and he was a part of. It could be something that he said. For me, my memorable quote of Enzo Maresca is very simple. It is, "We are not in the title race." That is my memorable quote. That is what I will remember Enzo Maresca for this season so far. If he was to get sacked today, that's what he would be remembered for. So let me know in the chat what you believe the best quote is for Enzo Maresca. I'd be very interested to hear it. I don't like the way how my team is playing at the moment. Who does? We need to beat Brighton this week. I'm praying. Just give me 3 points. I mean, I hope so. For me, it's 50-50 that game against Brighton. The only 3 points that I can guarantee you is 3 Points Perspective, which is a podcast we record every week. That will be out this week. So I can promise you those 3 points. I can't promise you 3 points on the pitch, though. But we'll have to wait. It is a process. Why is nobody talking about the Chelsea kit design? The third kit has never been used in football matches. Morris, I don't think that is a priority at the moment, to be totally fair. What is the third kit? I'm trying to see. What's the third kit? Okay, let's get at the third kit. Third kit. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, this one. What do you mean? We have used that kit. Of course we have. What do you mean we haven't used the third kit? We've definitely used the third kit, mate. We've played that in a number of games. We did that in, was it Astana or Panathinaikos or something? We have definitely used this third kit. Also, 84 quid. Jesus Christ. Wow. So no, we've definitely used the third kit, guys. We've definitely used it. The standards for this football club has fallen through the floor. Yeah. I don't even think we have a floor at this point. I think that we're outside. We're in the mud, as some people like to say. Ren, your quote from Enzo Maresca is simply a technical decision. That's a good one. Has anyone got anything that can beat that? We are not ready. We are not ready. That's true. We are not ready. Get rid of Maresca if we don't finish top 4 in the Conference League. Well, that seems fairly obvious, doesn't it? But I don't think it will happen. Even if I don't like what I'm seeing at the moment, I don't think that will happen. I believe that whatever happens this season, Maresca will not be sacked. I genuinely believe that. But if he was to stay and the sporting directors were to go, then you get 50% of what you wanted. On the footballing side, the ownership is a different conversation. Unfortunately, we're stuck with them. I know people say they can sell. Why would they want to sell? Why would they want to sell? But they're doing a great job of draining this club at the moment. I'm very unhappy with the ownership. I mean, it's pathetic, really, isn't it? There's no ambition. You've got rugby players coming into a football club, and you think that that's going to make things better. I don't know whether I feel good or bad sharing a birthday with him. Well, happy birthday to you, Faded. I hope you enjoy the day as much as you can. Maybe you'll have a late birthday present from Chelsea instead of the early one at Brighton. If we can get that, maybe that makes up for some of the pain you experienced on Saturday. David says, how can you say Maresca out has some shame, mate? I think he should have shame for playing Robert Sanchez in goal. That's all I ever said about Maresca is, you know what? If you drop Robert Sanchez, I feel like you'll be all right. I really wouldn't have a problem. He keeps doing it. He keeps playing Robert Sanchez. This is not complicated stuff. Yeah, people want to talk all they want about inverting fullbacks and wingers that are, touchline wingers, getting the best out of all of our individual players. For me, before that, you just have to pick the right ones. You don't have to know football to know that Robert Sanchez is rubbish. Anyone that was at City can see what I'm seeing. Anyone that watched Chelsea consistently last year knows what I'm talking about. There's clips that went out from Forest Green of Robert Sanchez from 5 years ago, whatever it was. Nothing has changed except that his bank account has gotten considerably larger. His balance is looking good. His goalkeeping ability is not. And Maresca is allowing it to continue to happen. And for that reason, if I swear to God, if Sanchez starts, more people are going to say the same thing that I'm saying. If Jorgensen starts against Brighton, then I'll immediately be happier. Just like that, I'll think, you know, we've got a chance of winning this game. Because it's not just the goalkeeper that has a job in terms of keeping clean sheets. He needs to provide stability and confidence to the back line. And when the back line look behind them and they see a bump, it unsettles them. It's just the truth. You need a good goalkeeper. A good goalkeeper makes your defense better subconsciously, even though they don't realize it. We had that with Petrovic last season. We got rid of him. We brought in the best goalkeeper statistically last season from La Liga, and we decided to bench him for a player who couldn't even get on Brighton's bench. And that's where we are. Up the Chelsea. If we don't get top 4, we're screwed. That's true. That's very true, Amar. We must and we will get top 4. Our squad is good enough. Would you still say it's a good season with just top 4? Absolutely, David. I'd say it's a great season from our perspective, from where I believed we would finish. I think I said that we would finish 5th, and 5th could still be Champions League. I think that's my perspective and what I was looking at. Ooh, can you hear that noise? Not a nice noise. That's the flat below me, guys. They've got construction going on. That is nasty. Yeah, I think that we can get top 4. You know, I'm not sitting here saying we won't do it. That's not what I'm saying. I am going on the basis of what I'm seeing on the pitch and what I'm seeing off the pitch and the things that are being said around the club. You as fans, because remember, I don't pretend to be a pundit. I am no professional on this stuff. I am a fan. I go to the games, I watch the game, and I say how I think. If you don't like what I think, fair enough. That's the whole point. Everyone's open to having their own opinions. And if you don't like my opinion, then go and watch someone else. You know, I've got nothing against it. Everyone's got to have an opinion on these things. My opinion is it's crap. It's shite. I'm paying a premium to go and watch what? Football that arguably could be worse in the long term of this season than last year, because last year we started poorly and we finished well. This season we started well and we're getting worse and worse and worse. Our track record in 2025 has been pathetic. Wolves have probably got better results than we have. I'm sure Leicester have as well. The trajectory that we're moving at the moment is not purely because of the manager. Of course it's not. But can you still get the right decisions for what you are in control of? You can't control João Felix going out on loan. You can't control the business that we do. I'm sure you have an input. I'm sure the directors ask your opinion, but let's be honest, they don't really care. If they cared, then Poch would have never been sacked, and Gallagher would be here, and Chalobah would have never been sat out on loan. So Maresca is not in control. We already know this. But what we do know is that even though he's not in control of what we can do off the pitch, he can control what we do on it. And if he's working with bums, fair enough. But if he's choosing bums and there's other players available who are better, like Jorgensen, then you're an idiot. You're stupid. I don't need to pretend that there's something about Robert Sanchez that is worth keeping. He is not good enough. Anyone that thinks he is deluded. And if that's our manager, then that is not a good commentary. Doesn't matter if fans are deluded. You could say I'm deluded. You could say anyone in the space is deluded. We don't really have an impact on what Maresca does on the pitch. So whatever I say, Maresca's going to do what he wants anyway. So when you've got a deluded manager and everyone else around you is going, what the hell is going on, then that is a sad commentary. That is a very sad commentary. You are now in a position where you've got someone who genuinely believes they are doing what's best for the team, and you're drowning yourselves. You want to go out to sea and sail. You want to fly, and you got an anchor that's keeping you, is keeping you still. You're being dragged down by something so simple. Maresca has lost the dressing room. The team has regressed so much that we play side-to-side football. I don't believe we've lost the dressing room. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I believe in any process, you're going to have ups and downs. And the performance against Brighton was nothing short of shocking. But I don't believe Maresca's lost the dressing room. I believe that he lost some players, but I believe a lot of those players have gone now. Your Disassis, your Vegas, your João Felixes, Chukwuemeka's, etc. And that's probably part of the reason they weren't as well. Was, if you look at it from a footballing standpoint, they were never going to feature anyway. What was the point of keeping them around? But for me, Maresca can still turn it around, but I am not backing this manager while he's playing Robert Sanchez in goal. I'm not doing it. I am not defending the indefensible. That is the low of lows you can have as a manager, to pick a goalkeeper who can't save and can't kick a ball. He's crap. And if Robert Sanchez is in this team, then Maresca's got to go. That's what I said on my fan cam outside the stadium. I woke up, I was extremely hungover. And I said, you know what, Alex? Do you regret anything that you said outside that stadium? No, because it was crap. The standards of the club fell in 2022 after Blueco bought the club. Fair enough. Yeah. Just wanted to ask, Alex, shouldn't Clearlake experiment with Strasbourg, not Chelsea, since Chelsea's name carries heavy in terms of a club? Why not buy young players for Strasbourg, not Chelsea? That's what they are doing. They are experimenting with Strasbourg. But we can look into that, because that's a good point. Even though they're experimenting with Strasbourg, where have Strasbourg finished? League table. They're currently 9th. Now, in history, I'd love to know where they've finished before. Right now, they're 9th. Okay, which by Strasbourg standards is not bad. Now, this doesn't change the fact that Strasbourg fans absolutely hate Blueco, and they protest heavily. Here we are, right in the middle. We thought we were in a relegation battle at one point. Strasbourg are definitely not in the process of being relegated at the moment. From Strasbourg's perspective, footballing-wise, it looks good. They've got Petrovic, who's performing very well. Santos, they've got other players from Chelsea as well. They finished 13th the year before. Bear in mind, obviously, the French league, you have 18 teams, not 20. So we were 9th, then 13th the year before that, 15th the year before that, 6th the year before that. So, and what was it before that? Just to make sure that wasn't a one-off. All right, 15th before that. So we went 15th, 6th, was it 15th again, 12th, and then we were 9th or something like that. So Strasbourg is benefiting from Blueco. Whether they like it or not, they're benefiting from it. They're getting good young players, and they're getting extremely talented players that would never come to Strasbourg if it wasn't for Chelsea. But that's not why Strasbourg are protesting. They're protesting because they're losing their heritage as a club. They're losing the foundations of what their club represents. They are no longer represented as a French club. They are part of a hedge fund. They are an asset, like Chelsea, that will be flipped on for a profit. They are, they are a team. If a player performs and they love that player, and that player has been a club legend for years, and Blueco come in, Chelsea want that player is gone. Their best goalkeeper is now Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. Why did he leave? because he was too old. And that's why Strasbourg have protested. And by protesting, what they do every single match, they're silent for the first 15 minutes of every single match, irrespective of whether they play home and away. It's gotten to a stage now where Mark Keller, I think that's his name, who's the director or something of Strasbourg, has come out and said, we need our fans to support us. You've seen Rosnia, the manager of Strasbourg, come out and say the players deserve the support from the fans from minute one. But it's not because of the players that Strasbourg are protesting. It is because of what is happening outside of everyone's control with Blueco, with Chelsea, with Clearlake, everything. Why spend more than £1 billion and fail to sign a proper striker and goalkeeper? Why do I go to the gym, but I still can't lift anything heavy? Why do I go out running when after 5 kilometers, I'm still dead? Why do I cook when everything I make is burnt? That is my answer. I don't know. It's stupid. I mean, to be honest with you, Morris, we do have a goalkeeper. We just don't play him. It's really the striker. We do have a goalkeeper. And that is not. I don't put the goalkeeper on the ownership. We spent a lot of money on goalkeepers. Just play the right one, for fuck's sake. Donna, you are here for the downfall of Chelsea. Although I say that, Spurs, not looking great, Donna. Not looking great for you in Tottenham at the moment. If Russia didn't invade Ukraine and the UK government didn't stick their noses in, do you think Roman Abramovich would still be here? Tuchel would still be here and we would be in a better situation? Well, obviously we'd be in a better situation than Yusuf. This is very political. This is not a footballing matter. This is a political issue. And if it wasn't for politicians who essentially caved in to the pressure, which they always do, generally speaking, then we would be in a situation where we still have an owner who was helping the British economy massively, providing Chelsea fans with a better community, feeding into the community, not just on a footballing front, but everything around the club. A man that donated the hotels to help the NHS in a time of need, and he was treated very poorly. And that's where we are. We have to accept that that's where we are. I don't accept it with a smile on my face because I think it's horrendous, mate. Brother Felix wanted to leave, mate. He wanted more minutes. Absolutely. I'm with you. Yeah, 100%. He wanted to leave. But we shouldn't have allowed him to leave. That's what I'm saying, David. We shouldn't have allowed him to leave. We can't bend the knee to every single player who wants minutes. At a top club, it's difficult to get minutes. And if you're not good enough, well, then that's your fault, to be honest with you. Be better. That's my stance on it. But also, Maresca could have done better because Felix deserved more minutes than he got. He deserved more minutes than he got. So this is on Maresca. This is also on Felix. And the club should have never allowed it to happen. They try and justify the fact that we sold this player. Sorry, we sent this player as well as other players on loan. And then we used that loan money to buy the young midfielder Amugu from St. Etienne, and I think it was Sarr for Strasbourg. Both players are going to Strasbourg next season anyway. You can't justify the business because it's left us in a short-term mess. It's a mess. If we qualify for the Champions League, then fair play. But we're not going to sit here and say that we were playing a good game. We're not playing the percentage game wisely. Law of averages. How many teams that get worse in January finish in a better position than they would have if they would have improved in January? Come on, guys. If Aston Villa had the same strategy as us, do you think we'd be worried about them? If Man City had the same strategy as us, would we be in a position where we'd look at them and go, shit, we might actually miss out on Champions League football here because They spent over 200 million. Rashford and Asensio have now joined Aston Villa. And this is where we are. We don't have a single player that can come in and make an impact except for Chalobah. And even him, one of our better defenders, was crap against Brighton. We got 92 of you in the building, guys. 92. Big up to everyone that is watching. Can we get up to 80 likes on the video, guys? 80 likes. Let me know in the chat as well how many likes we're on. I haven't got a clue. Good to see you all on here. Daniel, always a pleasure, mate. Good to see you. Mr. Alex, we are both in the same boat today with the FA Cup losses. We're no longer in the boat, Donna. It capsized. So yes, we're both in the water now. We've got to swim to shore. Can we make it? I'll leave that question to you. Hi, Alex. We desperately need to assure up what our team actually is in the summer and quickly. What does that mean, though, Daniel? What does that mean? Where are we going in the summer? Is is that based on us finishing in Champions League or Europa League or Conference or even outside of that? I don't think that will happen. But where do you see us? What do you see us doing in the summer? I love that 4-3 win against Spurs. It was beautiful. Absolutely. That was a memorable game. I'll give you that, guys. It was a very memorable game. Team starting with a B in the fourth round of the Cup are always a bogey. Fair. Brighton, Bournemouth, Burnley. Yeah, don't know about Burnley. They wore it in the Brighton game. Yeah, we've worn that kit, so I don't know what we were talking about with the third kit. We have worn it. Zigga Zaga says it's a pure mess. Big up to you. Maresca said, we now have time to concentrate on the Premiership and the Conference League after Brighton game. I didn't understand that at all. I think he's trying to find positives, but it comes across like you're just deflecting the problems. And look, there's two ways of doing things. You either protect the team or you don't. And he is choosing to deflect, which is not what we like Maresca for. We like Maresca for being blunt and honest. If he's not going to be blunt and honest, then it's just a bit. That takes away one of his best assets, which is trust within the fan base. And unfortunately, I don't think there is much trust at the moment around the whole club. And we've only got ourselves to blame for that. We made this mess. Players have down tools since Enzo came out saying we are not in the title race. We are never going to win titles if we have a donkey Sanchez in net. We need a goalkeeper and a proven 9 ASAP. We have a goalkeeper, Ficon. We have multiple goalkeepers that are good enough to get us in the top 4. I would even argue that Petrovic might even be good enough to bring us into a title challenge. People say that our goalkeepers aren't good enough. According to what I've seen with Strasbourg, people are saying Petrovic has been world class this season. I think he was top last season. I think he was fantastic. In the big games, he didn't let us down. His distribution isn't bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. It's more than capable of improving on what we have with Robert Sanchez. And he's a better shot stopper. He's a safe pair of hands. You will improve your goalkeeper. You will improve the defense because the goalkeeper is better. And you also have a player who you don't even need to sign because you've already got him. Bring back Petrovic. If you want to flip him for a profit, then put Jorgensen in. Honestly, either of those players, I'd rather see Petrovic based on what I've seen in a Chelsea shirt, but Jorgensen's still a good keeper in my eyes. Surely it's Jorgensen. I suspect Sanchez was put into the B team. We'll have to wait and see. Jorgensen is not going to start. He's going to start, not Sanchez. He's a Conference League keeper. I pray that is the case. I really pray that is the case. Loser mentality installed by the ownership. It's unfortunately, like Feliciano said from Clear Lake Capital, winning's great, but, it's not as important as making money. And he said that publicly, I remember. Daniel, big up to you, my friend. That is the soundtrack of our season so far. Alarming, but it's not over yet, but it is alarming. Absolutely. A lot of red flags. That's probably a good way of describing it. Godspeed says it's a good season if we finish top 4. I think it's a great season based on the way we're looking now if we finish top 4. What that we used to be just, I mean, it's like, oh my God, of course we're going to finish top 4. And now it's like, we have to finish top 4, but we've made it harder for ourselves to finish in the top 4. So I'm sort of clenching here, thinking, come on, boys. I know you can do it, but I don't really know if you can do it. I'm not entirely confident about this situation at the moment. He shouldn't have even been put in against Brighton. Maresca said he needed a rest against West Ham. Since when did keepers need to rest for games? Sanchez doesn't press. He doesn't run. What does he do? He stands there, for fuck's sake. Enzo Maresca does more exercise in a game than Robert Sanchez. At least he's walking up and down the touchline. He sits down and he goes back up. Sanchez just stands there. He does nothing. He's rubbish. That's why I'm not against getting rid of this manager, because you can't start Robert Sanchez. You can't. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. A rugby player won't be able to install a winning mindset into the team. These are pro players. They should be motivated to go out there and win. What is winning? Alex, maybe with Ben Roberts being a yes man to the board, Enzo has no choice but to play him. Well, then we're in big trouble, Tetley. We're fucked. If that's the case, we're fucked. We're fucked. Ben Roberts chooses the goalkeeper. You're a fucking idiot, Ben Roberts. How can you choose Robert Sanchez? I don't know who chooses the goalkeeper. I can't pretend to know. But I can tell you that Sanchez is rubbish. I can tell you that. Our average age, 24, Strasbourg, 22. So it's even more risky with Strasbourg than it is with Chelsea. But you can afford to be in 9th place with Strasbourg based on their previous seasons and still say that's almost an upgrade on what you had in the past. You can't afford to do that with Chelsea. You cannot afford to do it. Well, in the press, it does look that way, Trevor. I'm with you on that. He's only starting Sanchez to increase his value. He's decreasing his value by starting him. He's getting worse. He's getting worse every single week. I went on Transfer Market. You look on Transfer Market. I'll show you right now. Robert Sanchez on Transfer Market. His valuation is actually surprisingly high. Like, you wouldn't believe it. Robert Sanchez, he's valued on Transfer Market at 20 million. How the fuck is he worth 20 mil? Sell the man for 20. Give me 5, give me 10. Get rid of him. Rubbish. Strasbourg fans only protest because they think that all their players will go straight to Chelsea, although, to be honest, most of their players would naturally get sold anyway. Fair enough, Luke. I feel that's harsh. There's a big difference between Strasbourg and Forest. Let's be real. What's harsh? I don't know what you mean. We need a coach with similar character traits like prime Jose Mourinho, but it's not easy to find anyone. It's difficult. Mourinho wouldn't fit into this club because, you know, he needs to be given the tools to win. And unfortunately, we don't do that at the moment. All downhill since Tuchel. Tuchel would have been sacked under Roman. Let's be real. He probably would have at this time, but we'd still be winning trophies. And Tuchel wouldn't have been in the situation the season he was sacked where we had such a big transition anyway. So I actually would argue against that point. He probably could have been sacked. There's a good chance based on the history, but also Tuchel was the best thing since Mourinho. Because one thing that Tuchel had that Mourinho didn't have is a dominant style of football. And Mourinho never had that. We had a style of football which was, to some people, quite passive. I mean, it worked well, sitting back and countering. But Tuchel had a very dominant style as well. So I think from that perspective, it was quite sustainable because you had players that could buy into not just the fact that you're going to win trophies and you've got a high standard, but also the fact that you're going to play a nice brand of football as well. Time has come to get the sporting directors and Clown Lake out of the club. Mustafa, I feel your frustrations, my friend. I feel your frustrations. It is a very difficult time to be a Chelsea fan at the moment. Let's be real. Chelsea are a business. They are buying young and trying to flip for a profit. The summer will be full of PR, and then we will end up with Esteval and a few other random 18-year-olds. Chris, what I will say is this. We're absolutely a business. There's no doubt about that. And we're already doing PR. So, I mean, that's nothing that we have to wait until the summer for. With Esteval, I think that's genuinely a good signing. I'm not going to lie to you. There have been some good deals. Not every deal is a bad deal. But if more deals are bad than good, then you're going to find yourself regressing. And unfortunately, we have seen that a lot of the deals that this club has negotiated, whether that be based on signings or outgoings or even recruitment from the board members coming in, those deals haven't helped us enough to propel us into a situation where we can sit here and confidently say we will get in the Champions League. And I think that that's a very worrying thing to have after 3 years of ownership. I think that's very difficult when you're in a position where the money you spent on goalkeepers, you spent so much and you still pick the worst one out of the ones that you signed. That is worrying. I think it's worrying that you've got Badiashile in the squad, and we know that he's not going to be a starting centre-back in the future. I think it's worrying that we spent over 70 million on Fofana when he was already injured, if I'm not wrong. We agreed that deal. I think it's worrying that you build a team for the long term. You have some players that suit the system you're trying to build, and then you bring a new manager in every year. How does that correlate to any sort of sustainable plan? I think it's worrying that we signed Dewsbury Hall from Leicester for over 30 million. I think it's worrying that we have Kellyman in the squad, and we did that so that Aston Villa would then buy Martson and do us a favour, making pure profit. But the difference is Martson's good enough for Aston Villa, and Kellyman's not even good enough for a Premier League team, based on what I've seen, because I've seen fuck all. I think it's worrying that we've got a player that we signed for, again, over 60 million with Mudryk. I mean, that wasn't good business. It's all worrying for me at the moment. It's very worrying. So you make a lot of good points, but again, you sign Fernandes, you sign Caicedo, you sign Palmer. There are good deals out there, but we need more good deals. The owners obviously did not do their homework on Abramovich. He built Chelsea into a title-winning juggernaut. I think they did, but their priorities are different to his priorities. Free the UK farmers. We have to be playing Jorgensen, and Maresca needs to stop defending Sanchez. Jorgensen played really well against West Ham and should have kept Felix and looked for a striker in the window. It's a disgrace. Fair play, Jordan. There's no way Chelsea will be signing anyone like Sesko or Osman, as Chelsea will not pay the wages. The summer transfer will be wood of PR, and we'll end up with a few random 18-year-olds. I think that if we finish in the Champions League, the wages won't be as much of a problem. And I think that Osman could genuinely, I'm not saying Osman, but a player like that, if we were in the Champions League this year, I think we could have got Osman over the line. I really do. Because the whole negotiation, one of the key factors was the fact that Osman wanted the wages that he wanted now. He just didn't want to take a pay cut. And we essentially said, listen, we'll pay you that with Champions League football. And he said no, which is totally fair. Do I think we'll win the Conference League and still manage to finish in the top 5? I do think we'll win the Conference League, and I do think that we can finish 5th. Whether 5th is enough to give us Champions League, I don't know. But I do think we can do it. But we need to change the goal. First thing we need to do is change the goalkeeper. Just get rid of the glaring problem. And then we can work from there. Until the goalkeeper's rotated, then I'm Maresca out. That's how I feel. If he starts, what's his name, Jorgensen next week, that will be a step in the right direction for me. And I want to see a run of Jorgensen in goal. I don't want to see one game and then go back to Sanchez. That's just stupid. Big fan, Alex. How come you were Poch after all that happened last season, but now Maresca out and we're top 4? Because of Robert Sanchez. That's my main reason. I mean, he's an idiot. You can't play Robert Sanchez. What I'm saying here, you don't look, you can break things down as much as you want. Maresca has a better squad. Well, if you look at it from the beginning of the season, at least after the summer window, Maresca had a better squad than Poch. He has better players. He has a more stable club. Yeah, it's not stable still, but it's much more stable than it was under Pochettino. He come from a better position than Poch did the season before. Maresca has to bring a club that finished 6th to finishing 5th as a minimum. And people will go, well done. Poch had to get a team that finished 12th to finishing 6th, which I think is harder. It's harder. And that's my stance on it. I think that Poch was working with players like Jackson, who had never even played more than a season of professional football. I'd never heard of Madueke before. He was working with all of these guys, you know, and we didn't even know who they were when they come in. And Maresca's, he's had a chance to look at what these players done last season, and he can bring judgment based on that. Poch had none of those advantages. So, yeah, I do think that, me personally, I would have kept him still. But again, that doesn't mean I don't want Maresca to do well. And it doesn't mean that I can't change my mind on this manager. Of course I can. He could make some really good decisions over the next few months, and I'll change my mind. I'm not sitting here saying that Maresca will never, ever be the solution at Chelsea. But based on what we're seeing right now, how can you tell me that he's a solution and not the problem? On top of the fact that the director's the problem. On top of the fact that the ownership's the problem. You've got a lot of problems. Unfortunately, I can only break down one thing at a time. And when people want me to talk about the ownership for an hour on stream, it's very difficult for me to do that because we know what the problem is, and that's it. It's money. Now, when I see things on the pitch, I can break that down game by game. But the problem with the ownership runs on. That doesn't change. So, of course, we can talk about it. But, you know, if we're going to keep these owners, at least get your decisions right. At least get your decisions right. That's my stance on it. Get your decisions right. We knew that it was financially driven, but, you know, Liverpool's financially driven and they're top of the league. You've got a lot of teams out there that are financially driven and they can still find a way to be successful. A lot of people don't want to hear it, but at least bring me some success, and then I don't have to think too much about what's happening on the other side. You know, it's depressing. I couldn't do, you know, I couldn't do streams and talk like that all the time. I just wouldn't enjoy it. It's difficult enough to make as much content as we do now. I want to talk about the good things, but again, I will address what needs to be spoken about as well. If Chelsea don't win the Conference League, they're an absolute joke. I agree. Ryan, I can't see anything changing in the summer, Alex. We'll still be buying kids to make profit. It is a sad time. Look, I don't have a problem buying kids. Just buy experience as well. The two blend quite nicely together. But if you do too much of one thing, then it's very, very difficult. It's like those people that, what is that? What's that drink that people have? Squash. You know, if when you have squash, you might put this much squash in and fill the rest with water. It's like we've done the opposite. We've got this much squash, and then we're going to put this much water. It's going to taste shit, isn't it? And that's what we've essentially done with our transfers in terms of young players. The reason we're at the FA Cup is because the tactics and formation were wrong, and Kunku is not a striker, more like a winger. And in the summer, we need to do business thinking about getting a striker. I mean, that's not my qualm with yesterday. We didn't have another striker available, Jordan. So Maresca is very limited. But that being said, there's other decisions he could make that should be much better. The Monkey Gaming says, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, mate. I hope you're doing well as well. I don't think we're even going to win the Conference League, says Fried Plantains Mafia. Well, what do you think is going to happen then? These players' balls haven't dropped yet. Fair enough, you. There's probably some players you're actually right about. Pets don't morph into Michael Flatley river dance like Sanchez when under pressure. That's one way of saying it. I just think that Chelsea have finished, has spent 1.5 billion, and we're talking about Jorgensen, Sanchez, and Jackson. It's laughable, to be honest. Yeah, you're right. Matt, I hope you're doing well, mate. Are you on site? Are you in the digger right now, Matt? Are you in the digger? That's what I want to know. Need top 4 in the Conference League, otherwise it's the worst season ever. Would it be worse than Potter's season? I think it's very difficult to beat that, but hey, we'll have to wait and see. They should be getting ready for Chelsea. Blah, blah, blah. They should really be getting the Chelsea women's team to teach the men's team a thing or two about winning mentality. fair play to you, mate. We certainly need to bring that mentality into the men's game. Not just winning, but winning consistently. That's the way I want to see it. Chelsea are a business now. It's all about buying young players, try and flip them for a profit, and success comes last. Chelsea won't have any success under this ownership. Well, not success in terms of trophies, success financially. I think that, to be honest with you, they won't have any problems making money, but we'll have to wait and see what comes out if we are in the Champions League as well. The problem is, if the ownership try and take money out and the club aren't generating enough money, that's when we're in a really sticky situation. If the club is generating a lot of income and they're still taking money out, then look, it's not good. But if you get your decisions right, then you'll be okay. Liverpool are a good example of that. If you get your decisions wrong, then you're going to be like Man United. And that is not a good place to be. Daniel says we're on 35 likes. We've got 114 people in the building. Can we get up to 100 likes, please? 100 likes. Come on, guys. I'm putting my heart and soul into this. My heart and soul. There is no heart in the club. So I'm trying my best to bring some passion back to Chelsea. Let me know how many likes are on. Get to 100 likes, people. Big up to everyone that's watching. Matt says we need a quicker centre-back to cover the wings. I agree with you. Fofana is a big miss at the moment, but unfortunately, we should have never invested in a player who's constantly injured. Again, I put that down to the recruitment. Sanchez and Onana are the worst keepers in the Premier League ever. Sanchez is not as good as Onana. For Onana and Sanchez to be even named in the same bracket is a compliment to Robert Sanchez, because he's not good enough to even have his name in the same bracket as Onana. Onana has played consistently at the top level for a long time. He's won Serie A, if I'm not wrong, with Inter Milan. He's played for Ajax. What has Robert Sanchez done? Fofana has barely played since we bought him. He's injured all the time. Absolutely. Everyone is just doing what they have been paid to do, all by design. Is that the problem? Nobody puts in an extra shift. People just do their job and go home. No more thought about it other than that. Why the hell are we mixing rugby with football? These owners are crazy. Bringing American agenda over here. They're so out of their depth. I don't know who made that decision, to be honest with you. I'm really not sure who's in charge of that. So I'd need to look into it a bit more. Sanchez has to be dropped next game, and we need to play Jorgensen in more games. Sanchez's value could be down with the mistakes, and he should not be playing for Chelsea anymore. Get rid of him. I agree. Ends Ian, big up Alex. We are done as a club. Sack all those clowns, sporting directors and owners, for fuck's sake. I feel your frustrations, my friend. I feel your frustrations. Madueke needs to be sold. I completely agree, James. I completely agree. So when people talk about wingers, I'm not fully against bringing in other wingers, because I don't think that the wingers we have are necessarily getting enough. I do like Sancho. I do like Neto. I did like Mudryk. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. But we talk about Garnacho and players like that. Look, I don't think it's working that well with Madueke. I'm not saying you bring in Garnacho to solve your problems, but I'm just saying that you could sell him and replace him quite easily and get your money back and still make a profit and have a better player than what you already have. Proper Chelsea says, I'm starting to doubt this kind of system when you've seen successful managers like Ancelotti and Zidane who give players freedom to express themselves and find their own way to score goals. Yeah, I mean, it's a rigid system. Unfortunately, it's robotic, isn't it? That's the way football is at the moment. And that's what the club want. They literally want that. That's why they recruited Maresca. Look how much better we were defensively with Fofana. We need pace at the back. I agree. We need an elite manager here to raise the levels of these players. This team is top four worthy easily with the individual talents and technicalities. It's our gaffer who's not utilising them correctly. I think you make some great points. If you look at the team as a whole, we certainly are good enough when our players are fit. Problem is we have a lot of injury problems. How do you adapt to them? Well, the first answer to that is you need to adapt to them. And I don't think Maresca is, on top of the fact that he is continually choosing a goalkeeper who's not good enough for our reserves. You know, I don't know why he keeps picking him. Atrav, see, it says keep Maresca out of this mess. So you are clearly on the side of keeping Maresca. Fair play to you. Chelsea are challenging for top 4, and instead of strengthening the squad, keeper and a striker, we have weakened him. It's going to be harder to get top 4 now. I don't know what that means. I understand buying young stars to loan out, but that's a second priority and should be a fraction of who we buy. Fair play. Right, I'm going to do 1 or 2 more comments, guys. I'm trying my best. What can we expect from the owners who call it soccer law? They're just here for the money. Got to get the ownership out. I mean, yeah, we know it's financially driven. We know it. We know it is. We're owned by a hedge fund. We are a hedge fund at this point. Kepa, I mean, I'd rather have Kepa than Robert Sanchez, if that's what you're asking me. Stephen says, is mentioning Johnny Minerals taboo on this channel? Does Charlie have a problem with Minerals? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if Charlie has an issue with Johnny. I don't have a problem with Johnny. I respect what Johnny says. And Johnny is always welcome on this channel, but I don't think he's interested in coming on. I'm hearing Caicedo needs a rest. Lol, that's pathetic. Gallagher never needed rest. Well, I think he does need a rest at some point. He's only human. Sega, you can only lose money for 3 seasons before FFP kicks in. Revenue fell last season and it's on course to fall this season. We have spent 1.5 billion. You make a great point, Chris. Cole is having to play in a system that doesn't let him shine. I agree. Again, I agree on that. Look, you look at some of the players that we've got, and to be honest with you, I could name a couple that were better under Poch. You know, I could name players that were, or just as good under Poch. You know, I'm not even going to say better, just as good or better. I think Cucurella was just as good under Pochettino. I think that Chalobah was just as good under Poch, although we haven't seen enough of him. So I'll brush that one to the side. Fofana was never available. Colwell's, again, I mean, Poch didn't utilise Coleman in his best position a lot of the time, which was very frustrating. But when he played as a centre-back, he was better. Gusto was better under Poch. I think James performs better in that system as well. Fernandez is better under Maresca. Caicedo's been better under Maresca. Lavia, better under Maresca as well. Neto, for me, is more of a Pochettino-style player. Same with Jackson. Same with Madueke as well. Same with Nkunku. Same with Palmer. But then you got Jadon Sancho there. I think Mudryk is probably more suited to Maresca as well. So you got a real mix, guys. There you go. But listen, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Appreciate everyone that's come on. We've got 100 people here at the moment. Can we get up to at least 90 likes on the video? Smash the like button if you haven't already. There will be another stream later on this evening at 8 o'clock. So tune in for that one, and we will catch up very, very soon. All the best, guys, and we will catch up later.